Hello everybody, welcome back. Today we are talking college football. And I'm going to be giving my predictions for pretty much all of these games. Some thoughts for Heisman's this year, all that. So let's not waste any time, let's get into this. Number one, I'm going to hit it right out of the gate. Alabama versus Louisville. Louisville doesn't have Lamar Jackson. They don't have their star quarterback from last year. They have Pass as a quarterback. He's not mobile. I don't know much on him, but all I know is he's really more or less a pocket passer. He's anti-Lamar Jackson. Alabama will probably be able to maintain him. They do have some issues in the secondary, but Alabama's got a really good offense this year. This is some offense we've never seen from them before. I like Alabama big. I would say, I know Vegas has them at 24.5 favorites. I would actually say I will take that. I think they win by that many points against Louisville. Clemson against Furman. Yeah, do I even have to say it? Clemson. Georgia versus Austin Peay, or PA. I always mess it up, but still, Georgia wins. Now, Ohio State versus Oregon State. Now, I do see this one being closer, due to the fact I could see the school being a bit distracted. I'm still going to take Ohio State, but I wouldn't be surprised if Oregon State hangs in there for a while. Washington versus Auburn. Now, these are two pretty good overall teams, I would say. They'll probably both be in a high bowl game this year. They will probably both end up having a Heisman candidate in Jarrett Stidham and Jake Browning. I like Jake Browning a lot more than a lot of other people do. I feel like he could possibly have a Baker Mayfield type season where he improves his draft stock a lot throughout the season as it continues. Florida Atlantic versus Oklahoma. Now, this is probably the game I'll be watching in the early morning just to see how it goes. Florida Atlantic will probably stay in it longer than they should. Way longer. They have a good offense, and Oklahoma's defense is nothing special. But you take Oklahoma to win it due to the fact that they'll probably have more offense explosion, and they have better depth. They have high recruits. They should win that game. Appalachian State versus Penn State. Now, I'm going to take Penn State, but all I'm going to say is Appalachian State has done it before. And they've done it to Michigan, one of Penn State's rivals. So don't take this game easy. They might seem like nothing, but it can happen. Now, Michigan versus Notre Dame. Now, see, I'm not high on Michigan this year. I personally am not. I'm not a Shea Patterson fan. And I'm going to be straight up honest. I don't think he's that special. I don't. I didn't see anything special in him at Ole Miss. I feel like it's just a bit Michigan hype. I don't really think he'll be able to carry Michigan to the college football playoffs in a loaded Big Ten conference. And if he does somehow make the college football playoffs, I don't like their odds of going all the way. I just truly don't. I think you have Clemson, Alabama, Washington, Auburn, Georgia, even Oklahoma. There's so many teams up there that Michigan, I just don't think they can compete with all the way through. And Notre Dame's interesting. Notre Dame can either be really good or really bad. I never know with Notre Dame. My bet is usually really good, but as we've seen a couple of years ago, they can be really bad. They have a young quarterback still, who I don't know much on. I don't follow Notre Dame that much, so to be honest, I'm a little bit in the dark on them this upcoming year. But they are playing Notre Dame, so I will take Notre Dame. Michigan can still make a run for the playoffs, but they would have to win out after this game, I believe. I don't think a two-loss team is going to make the college football playoffs, and having a loss before conference schedule in the Big Ten, that's not going to be easy to overcome. UNLV versus USC, or just to make sure, because we'll get to another USC, University of Southern California. UNLV, they're not going to be able to compete with USC. USC has a really nice quarterback in JT Daniels. He's a true freshman. He's getting his first start. That might be the only shot UNLV's got, is hoping he keeps on making stupid, boneheaded mistakes time in and time out. That's the only way I think UNLV's got a chance. And now we look at Southern Utah versus TCU. This game will not be pretty. This is not for the faint of hearts. TCU big. West Virginia versus Tennessee. Now, this is a game I really do not have much confidence in Tennessee for. I like West Virginia. I like them a lot. I saw how bad Tennessee was last year firsthand. I watched another SEC team. But when you watched Tennessee last year, you knew they were going to be bad. When you look at West Virginia's roster, they should be dominant. West Virginia is one of my picks to be in the Big 12 championship game, which we'll get to later. But I don't like Tennessee this year, and I know it's a 9.5 point spread. I like West Virginia covering that and maybe even doubling it. Stephen F. Austin versus Mississippi State. Now, this game I don't really have much faith in being FCS upset. I think Mississippi State rolls them over. And I wouldn't be surprised if they score 70 points. Nick Fitzgerald coming back. Unless he's got some severe damage with his leg still, I don't think Mississippi State loses the game. Boise State versus Troy. Now, Troy, they could keep it close. They could be a good over-under pick. But I like Boise State. Boise State, I think, will win. And they will do a good job at doing it. I would say I would take them for double-digit point win. But we've seen crazy things happen with Troy before. LSU Tigers fans know what I'm talking about. And it's really just a coin flip because I don't know much on Boise State. I do know they will probably have better recruiting class, that they will have a decent quarterback play. They should most likely have a good defense. Texas versus Maryland. Now, this is a game that I really like to pick the upset in. And the reason why I'm going to take Maryland for an upset, and yes, I know they had a teammate that passed away with all that's going around the school. That can be a big distraction, don't get me wrong. But for all those players, that was their teammate. I wouldn't be surprised if they went out there and they played their hearts out for him and upset Texas. It's in Maryland. Maryland beat Texas last year. Texas has the odds against them in this game, in my opinion. And I'm not high on Texas this year. I'm going to be honest. I was surprised myself in the top 25. As a lot of other top 25 teams that you usually see. I just don't feel like they're in the cusp of the top 25 yet. Maybe next year I could see it with another Herman recruiting class. And he knows how to work with the offense. But I have a feeling Maryland's going to come out there and shock the world. I got Maryland winning the game. Bowling Green versus Oregon. Now, I've heard a lot of things about Oregon's QB possibly being an NFL draft pick, so I may watch some of this game. I may wait to watch a lot more Oregon play until Pac-12. Bowling Green, they should not be competitive with Oregon. Oregon should win. If Oregon does not win by 15 points, there's some problems there. They did lose their first-year head coach last year, Willie Taggart, to Florida State, which is weird. Like, you're there for one season, then you leave for Florida State. Like, that's not something you hear from Oregon. That's something you hear from, just for example, a Hawaii or a Texas State. Just a lower school if they want to recruit you. That's not something you usually hear from Oregon, so that'll be interesting to see how they handle it. And I'm just going to scroll down because a lot of these games are predictable. You go Illinois, North Carolina State, Houston, Rutgers, South Carolina, Temple, Ole Miss, Texas Tech. Now, that could be a very good game. I still think Ole Miss is serving their punishment from the NCAA. I could be absolutely incorrect, but I do believe they're still serving their punishment. So I wouldn't be surprised if they win this, but I'm going to take Texas Tech. Ole Miss has a couple questions for me, and I just don't follow them enough to know how good they're going to be this year. Georgia Tech will win that one. That game could be pretty good. I would take the under spread. I think UMass keeps it closer than with what the spread I know Vegas has given them. I think it was 9 points, if I'm correct. I like UMass staying within that range. I do think Boston College does win it, though, but I like UMass keeping it closer. Stony Brook versus Air Force. Air Force should win. Howard versus Ohio. Ohio. Northern Illinois versus Iowa. Now, this is a game I like the upset pick as well. Iowa has some issues covering the spread sometimes. I feel like Northern Illinois can use that. I think it'll be a close game, don't get me wrong. But I'm going to take Northern Illinois. Central Michigan versus Kentucky. Kentucky lost a lot of starters last year. They're grooming a new QB. But I just don't know much on Central Michigan. I just don't. So I'll take Kentucky. And no offense to Central Michigan fans, I just don't know much on you guys. Marshall versus Miami, Ohio. I have no idea on either team. I'll just pick Marshall. Pittsburgh versus Albany. I'll take Pittsburgh. Washington State versus Wyoming. Now, this is a game that could be very fun to watch if you like hard-hitted football. Wyoming's got a really good defense with a lot of decent NFL prospects, I feel like. And you look at them with what they were able to do against New Mexico State. Now, I know it's New Mexico State, but still, Wyoming was able to dominate, and they did not give New Mexico State any breathing room for that first half. It was bad for New Mexico State. Washington State's got a nice high-powered offense. It's air raid attack. I feel like if Wyoming can shut them down and they can do a good job of it, a lot of people will get some more eyeballs on them. And Wyoming and Boise State are going to be two teams I'm going to watch in the MWC this year, because I feel like they can possibly be a Power 5 school that can contend with a BCS Bowl. Eastern Illinois versus Arkansas. Arkansas should win. North Carolina versus California. I'll take North Carolina. UT Martin versus Missouri. I'll take Missouri. Delaware State versus Buffalo. Buffalo. Fordham versus Charlotte. To be honest, I don't even know if Fordham's FBS school or FCS. I know Charlotte just moved to FBS a couple of years ago. I will take them, but not by a lot. NC A&T versus East Carolina. Now, I actually do know of NC A&T. I watched their football game last week against Jacksonville State. Phenomenal game. That was really entertaining. But I don't think they can beat Eastern Carolina. I just don't. I'll take East Carolina. South Carolina State versus Georgia Southern. I'll take Georgia Southern. Old Dominion versus Liberty. I'm going to take Old Dominion. Alon versus South Florida. South Florida should win handily. They'll be one of the teams in the American Conference contending this year. Richmond versus Virginia. It's ironic. I'll take Virginia. Southeast. I want to say that's Missouri, but I'm not sure off the top of my head. State versus Arkansas State. I'll take Arkansas State. Indiana versus FIU. Indiana. Nicholls State or Nicholls State. I don't know how to say it. Kansas. I'll take Nicholls State. Kansas is god-awful football program. I don't even think they'd make the FCS playoffs if they were in the FCS. South Dakota versus Kansas State. Kansas State should win. Grambling versus Louisiana. Louisiana. Mercer versus Memphis. That could be a close game, but I'm still taking Memphis. Louisiana Tech versus Southern Alabama. Should be interesting. I know Louisiana Tech should be good this year. Southern Alabama, I don't pay attention to. I don't pay attention to either schools, but I do know a bit more about Louisiana Tech, so I'm going to take Louisiana Tech. Jackson State versus Southern Mississippi. VMI, don't know where that stands for. Versus Toledo, I'll take Toledo. Central Arkansas versus Tulsa. Tulsa should win. Central Arkansas, I follow FCS schools, so I actually know how good they are, and they've struggled in the FCS, so I don't think they're going to do anything against the FBS team. Cincinnati versus UCLA. That could be a good game. It's Chip Kelly's return, so it might be something to tune into and watch. Man, that's hard because UCLA's got a new quarterback. I don't know how many starters they're returning. And Cincinnati's no slouch. I'll take UCLA, but I would put them on upset alert because Cincinnati will keep it close. But Chip Kelly, his high-paced offense, could win them the game. That's a hard one to pick. I don't know how many starters UCLA is returning off the top of my head. I do know they lost their quarterback, which is arguably the most important position for Chip Kelly's offense. But he also gets to start grooming a new guy immediately for his offense, so it could go either way. I'm taking UCLA, but not by much. Florida versus Charleston Southern. Florida, Dan Mullen should win that game. SMU versus North Texas. SMU could be a team in the American Conference that has a good shot this year. I'm going to take SMU. Northern Arizona versus UTEP. Here's an FCS pick. I'm taking Northern Arizona to beat UTEP. I know probably most people don't know how good those two teams are or where this game will be at. Northern Arizona's got a pretty good team. I've seen them play a couple times the past couple years. They have a great coaching staff. I would not be surprised if Northern Arizona won that game. Middle Tennessee versus Vanderbilt. Call me crazy. I'm actually giving the win to Vanderbilt. I know, it's crazy. Albine Christian versus Baylor. Baylor, it's not taking you how many weeks to get your first victory? I take the Baylor Bears. South Dakota State versus Iowa State. Jackrabbits are one of the better FCS teams there are. They will keep this game close no matter what. I will take Iowa State. But for anyone that wants their NFL team to draft a kicker, watch this game. Chase Vinatieri, the nephew to Adam Vinatieri, is a kicker for South Dakota State, and he's got a leg. I've watched him live, and when you watch him, you know he's making the NFL. Akron versus Nebraska. Nebraska should win in Scott Frost's first ever game as head coach there. Should be good. Stadium should be amazing. I have a feeling Nebraska should actually probably put 50 on them. I'm willing to bet Nebraska is the team that's going to put a 50 burger up today. Okay, I'm just taking New Mexico. I'm not even saying those two schools. Idaho versus Fresno State. Idaho just moved down to the FCS. But we know how they are in the FBS. Fresno State handily. UTSA versus Arizona State. I'll take Arizona State and Herm Edwards' coaching debut there. I don't know how it'll be. I don't know the system Herm Edwards is going to run. Nor do I know much about UTSA. I'll take Arizona State, though. Better school, easier recruiting class. BYU versus Arizona. I like Arizona this year in the Pac-12 South. I do. I like Kevin Sutherland as a head coach. I think they should be a good team. BYU, I don't know much on. They usually have good defense linemen. They usually can get after the quarterback, but I have a feeling Arizona will win. Navy versus Hawaii. Hawaii destroyed Colorado State, so I'm just going to take Hawaii. Hawaii looks really good this year. Sunday night. Now, this is tomorrow night's game, but still. Sunday night, Miami versus LSU. I'm going to take the Miami Hurricanes. I don't have faith in LSU winning that game. LSU has been up and down the quarterback position. They did just get Joe Burrows from Ohio State, but I don't know much on it. It might be close. I'm not sure. I still like Miami winning no matter what, though. And Monday night, Labor Day, I got Virginia Tech Hokies beating Florida State Seminoles. Now that game should be pretty good. I think it looks really good on paper, and it should be fun, fast-paced, the whole 9 yards. I do like Virginia Tech, though, winning it due to the fact that their coaching staff's implemented a culture there longer. They're not brand-new players. Don't get me wrong. Having a brand-new coach, some of the players are fired up to go get his first victory there, but I like Virginia Tech today. And there's really nothing to talk about these games. That game was closer than I expected. First half, that was pretty good. Yeah, there's nothing to talk about these games, really. So with what I'm going to do is now switch over to college football playoff predictions, conference championship predictions, all that. We're going to start off with the SEC, because I do know who's going to be number one, of course. it should be Alabama versus Georgia for the SEC title. Everyone thinks it. I think everyone's correct. I think it'll be a good game, but you give it to Alabama. If you have a chance to pick Alabama, just pick Alabama. Upsets can happen, but just pick Alabama. Be on the safe side. Just put them in the college football playoffs. I know no one really wants it besides Alabama fans, but it's probably going to happen again. Clemson will represent one half the ACC. In the second half, I will say, will be NC State. And I know they're barely out of the top 25, but I do like NC State. They always seem to have good defensive line talent. They always seem to be able to match up with some of these schools. But they also have a quarterback I really like this year in Ryan Finley. Ryan Finley is a strong-arm QB that can throw the ball downfield and air it on almost anyone. I do like him a lot, and he's one of the NFL draft QBs that actually I really like. I watched him a lot last year, and I thought he was going to enter, and I'm a Steelers fan. There's no doubt about it. I'm a Steelers fan. If he was in there and the Steelers took Mason Rudolph over him, I would have been upset. I think Ryan Finley can be the next strong-armed QB. I like him more than I like Josh Allen. I would put him neck and neck with Rosen, but he's not as polished as I would say a Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield. But I will take Clemson overall winning the conference, ACC. I'll also put them in the college football playoffs. Now, Big Ten. These schools are going to have fun. This conference will be awesome to watch all year. And at one side, I'm taking Wisconsin. Wisconsin's obviously the best out of their side. Now, here's the fun part. You get Ohio State, Michigan State, Penn State, and Michigan. Those are 4 nice schools to choose from. All of them could be correct. I'm going to take Michigan off because I like the quarterback at least. I don't know who Ohio State's quarterback is, but I don't like Shea Patterson that much. Michigan State, they showed some issues last night, but man, Brian Lewerke, he's made some good strides. Ohio State, though, they're always competitive. But with all these scandals going along, I can see it being a team distraction. Plus, I don't see them escaping this Urban Meyer suspension without at least one loss. So I'm taking Ohio State out. So it leaves down to Michigan State and Penn State. I'm going to take Penn State and Trace McSorley to represent the Big Ten. Again, to represent the Big Ten side. I think it's East. I could be incorrect. So the Big Ten championship game will be Penn State versus Wisconsin. 2 teams that should be both very good. 2 teams that should probably vie for a college football playoff spot, whoever wins this game. And I like Wisconsin. They're down-dosed offense. I'm taking Penn State to win and put them in the college football playoffs. And here's where we start having some issues. Now we have one more spot to fill. We have the Big 12 and the Pac-12 to pick from. Ooh. Let's get into who I think will win the conference championship on both sides, and then we'll see who the final pick is. For the conference championship, Big 12 game, I think it will be West Virginia versus Oklahoma. And I think it will be a very good game, and I'm giving the game to West Virginia. I think West Virginia will be the Big 12 champions this year. In the Pac-12, I like Washington out of the North. Out of the South, I think it's close between USC and Arizona, but I'm going to give the nod to USC. USC versus Washington. USC recently has given Washington all the trouble. They've cost Washington probably a college football playoff spot. So, does Washington get some revenge and get the Pac-12 championship? Yes, they do. And now picking this last spot is going to come back to a game I picked earlier. Washington versus Auburn, where I picked Washington to win against a quality team like Auburn. I think that gives Washington the nod over the Big 12 champion. I think the college football playoffs will be Alabama, Clemson, Penn State, and the Washington Huskies. The overall championship winner? This can be hard. I think the matchup would probably be with the win out of the Big Ten. I would say Penn State is probably the 2 seed if they can go in there with just one loss, because I don't think Clemson's entering there without a loss. And Washington could possibly be undefeated, but outside of Auburn and USC, they really don't have many quality games on their schedule. And Alabama will, of course, be 1 because they are 1 right now, and I just don't pick against them to lose. So Bama 1, Penn State 2, Clemson 3, Washington 4. Now, Washington versus Alabama. This game will probably be good. Both have good coaching staffs. The problem with Washington is, though, I don't think they can compete with Alabama yet. I just don't think that's possible yet for them. They're still rebuilding that program. And I think Alabama will win. Probably not as bad as they did the last time in the college football playoffs. But I don't think it's going to be as close. I would say 10 points, Alabama wins. I'd put Alabama in the final championship game. And Clemson versus Penn State. Now, this game should be good. I will take Clemson, though, because their defensive line is amazing. You watch that defensive line, and you drool at the NFL talent. I would not be surprised if Pete Carroll or any other defensive coordinator that became a head coach in the NFL is drooling looking at this Clemson defensive line. Clemson probably has the best defensive line in college football this year. I'm going to take Clemson, though. Penn State should be good. Clemson wins, and I would say probably more than with what Alabama beat Washington with. So now we have it. We have Clemson versus Alabama. We have, well, I really don't know who will be either QB because I feel like both of them have a serviceable backup no matter who starts, and I feel like both of them have a decent starter. And this game will not be high scoring like it was a couple of years ago. This game will be nasty. It will be gritty. It will be grinding your teeth. I think this game is the lowest scoring college football championship game we've had in a while. I think the final will be 17-20. And this will probably surprise some people, but I can't pick against that Clemson defensive line. That Clemson defensive line's got too much NFL talent for me to pick against them. And you can probably say Alabama's got the NFL talent. When you possibly have 4 defensive linemen and they all look like potential starters in the NFL, that is a great defensive line. I take Clemson to win the championship this year. And finally, for my Heisman pick, the Heisman finalist, I think Bryce Love will be there. He had a rough night last night, and it did not look good. I see a lot of people picking Tua from Alabama. I'm not certain in taking that just because I don't know if he'll start or if it'll be Jalen Hurts. QB I do like, though, is Trace McSorley at Penn State. And the final spot is actually between Jake Browning or Jarrett Stidham. I like both, but Jake Browning. And the reason why I do think overall Jake Browning will win this is because I think he'll take his team in the college football playoffs, which will give him a nod over some other people. I think we're going to wrap it up. If you guys tuned in today and enjoyed this, hit that like button. And, of course, just enjoy college football. It should be an awesome year this year.